the Makeover Monday Challenge, a weekly challenge brought to you by Paper Crafters Library and Sunny Stampin' Studios. The purpose of Makeover Mondays is to help you learn how to take the ideas and inspirations you find on the internet and make it your own. This challenge is strictly a work from your stash challenge, so every Monday we take a project we found on the internet and show you how to use it for inspiration, and how we make it our own, using our supplies from our own stash. Your challenge is to do the same, and I'll give you more details at the end of this video. First off, here's today's inspiration piece, a clean and simple wedding card by Dawn McVeigh. As you see, Dawn incorporates some different die-cut elements, pattern papers, and different textures and embellishments into her card. As I show you my card and how to make it, I will share with you how I drew inspiration from Dawn's piece to create my own. So let's get started. You're going to need a 4 1/4 by 11 inch piece of cardstock, and here I'm using the Lemonade cardstock from Basil. You're going to crease that at 5 1/2 and fold along that crease line with a bone folder, creating your card base. Once you have that done, you can set this aside for a moment. You're then going to need a piece of cardstock, and here I'm using Rose Red from Stampin' Up. I took Stampin' Up's scallop trim border punch and punched along the bottom, creating my card mat. To start, my card mat was 3 3/4 by 5 inches, and this punch takes off about 1/8 of an inch. You're then going to need a piece of designer paper that measures 3 1/2 by 4 1/2, and here I'm using Echo Park's Fresh Flowers DP, found in the Springtime collection. You're going to take and mat your designer paper to your Rose Red mat using double-sided adhesive. So now that you have your matted designer paper, you're going to bring back your card and you're going to center and stick this to your card base using your double-sided adhesive. So I'm going to make sure that my scallop is towards the bottom, and I'm going to center and stick this. Now I know that in Dawn's card she had it slight offset towards the left, but I'm centering mine in the center of the card. That's how I just drew the inspiration, by keeping the scallops towards the bottom, the same as in Dawn's card, and my mat I just wanted centered just to enhance bring out the colors in the designer paper a little bit more so, as Dawn's was a more muted patterned paper. So now I'm going to add my greeting. Dawn used more of a flourished greeting, and I'm keeping mine a very simple flag. I started off with a white smooth piece of cardstock from Basil, and this measures 1/2 inch by 4 1/2 inches. I stamped my greeting centered onto the piece of cardstock using Memento Tuxedo Black ink and a Stamp-A-Jig. And the greeting is found in big bold wishes from Paper Tray. Once you have that, then I cut a fishtail in the right hand end of my greeting here with some paper snips. So I'm just going to slightly round this, so I'm just going to use the back of my scissors to just slightly round my greeting. And once you have that rounded, I'm just going to push this so that this will sit on my card popped up a little bit. So in order to do that, I'm going to pop it up using some Stampin' Dimensionals, and I'm going to place a dimensional at each end of my greeting flag. Peel off the backing, and you're going to align the left hand side with the edge of the card. And here I notice mine's slightly longer than I wanted it. So once you have that stuck down, if you notice that it's a little bit longer than you want, you can just bring your paper snips in and trim off the remainder of that greeting flag. Now that you have that, we're ready to start to layer some of our embellishments. And Dawn used some buttons and some twine, as well as some stitching and some die cut elements, and I'm just going to use some flowers that I found, some felt flowers, and these are the fancy felt flowers from Hero Arts, and they're already self-adhesive and they coordinate very well with my designer paper, so I'm going to stick those down in the same way Dawn did towards the bottom left hand corner of my mat. So just pull off the backing from your flowers, and you're just going to layer these in the bottom left-hand corner. So now I'm going to embellish the rest of my flowers using some buttons, and I've got some coordinating buttons with my flower colors, and I've taken some of the buttercream twine from the twinery, and I'm going to thread that through my buttonholes. So if you have 4 buttonhole, make sure that you create the X through the button, or on the front of the button. If you only have a 2, it's okay to just loop it straight through. And I've gone ahead and done so with my other 2 coordinating buttons. And like I said, I have a 2 buttonhole for my small pink one, and then a 4 holes in the buttons for my yellow and purple flowers. So I've gone ahead and I've made the X, and then you're just going to place a mini glue dot on the back of the button, and you're going to stick the ends of the twine down to that mini glue dot and trim off any excess with your paper snips. So now I'm going to stick my coordinating buttons to the center of each flower, and I'm going to do so with a touch of Tombow. You could use mini glue dots, or you could use a little touch of hot glue if you wanted to. Tombow will hold enough as well. This is a fairly porous fabric for the felt flowers, so that would hold. And it's fun to play with different elements, with different textures. It adds an amazing look to your finished product. So now I just have one more finishing touch, and that is to add one more button to my card here, and I'm going to add it to the side of my greeting flag here. And I've taken a yellow button found in my paper tray collection, and I've thread a 6-inch piece of buttercream twine through it and tied it in a bow, and I'm just going to stick that to the left-hand side of my greeting flag with a couple of mini glue dots on the back of the button. Stick it to the left-hand side of my greeting flag like so. And you want to allow your Tombow adhesive here some time to dry and make sure that it's drying fairly flat. And there you have your finished product. Now it's your turn. So here's how the challenge works. Create your own project using Dawn's for inspiration. While I chose to create a card, use hers for inspiration to create any kind of project you'd like. Post your project on your blog or online photo gallery, and then come back to the Paper Crafters Library blog. Scroll to the bottom of the Makeover Monday challenge post. Click on the In Links button and link to your blog post. If you're watching this video from somewhere other than our blog, in the description section of the video there will be a direct link to the Makeover Monday blog post. We will draw one name from all the participants on Monday, February 6th, and the winner will receive one of our new spring grab bags featuring over $30 of spring-themed paper crafting products.